If you now age these wines for 3 or 4 years, the one that and the will age normally. The one that will fade much quicker.
Yeah.
The first tasting is simple. It's a quick experiment that I did. So we have 3 red wines, and then the first red wine, it was exposed to extreme heat. I left it outside under the sun for about 2-3 hours about a month ago. It was really hot. The wine started to leak out through the capsule. So that's first wine.
That's the first one we're going to get, or it's one of them?
It's one of 3.
And they're all the same wine.
They're all same wines. Second wine kept in just room temperature. The third one I put in the freezer last night and completely frozen, and then I melted it this morning.
Okay.
So I wanted to see if we find any fault or any difference compared to.
Is it young wine?
It's 2021 vintage.
I will make a prophecy that we don't see the difference, but I look forward to
okay. Yeah, because sometimes when you ship the wine from the winery, you know, it's
usually over a period of time.
Right.
The fact that you did it 3 weeks ago.
About a month ago, yeah.
Yeah, that's important. If you had done it just this morning,
right,
probably it would make no difference. But maybe 3 weeks ago it made a difference.
So
heat speeds up chemical changes, right? If you get enough that you're expanding the volume of the liquid and you're getting seepage, you can theoretically get oxygen seeping in. Heat accelerates oxidative reactions, but also oxygen accelerates oxidative reactions. Plus, also the heat can give a bake characteristic to the wine. And then when you freeze the wine, you can get precipitation of tartrates. So I'd expect there's a possibility the wine that was frozen may have more sediment than the wine that wasn't frozen.
But if we see tartrates in the bottom of our glass, we don't even have to taste it.
But it's not fault, right? It doesn't really
tartrates?
affect. Yeah, it doesn't affect.
It's a problem commercially, but it's not a physical problem. Most people whose wines are unfined and unfiltered point out to you that it's likely to throw all sorts of sediments, including tartrate crystals. I remember the days 25, 30 years ago. You literally could not put a bottle of German wine in the fridge without taking it out and seeing crystals.
I see.
And the issue is going to be, as well, not only sediment, but you can have the wine turn murky. It has to not be clear. So the consumers can have problems with that. Some consumers think, could this be glass particles?
Yeah, no, you don't want it, but it's not specifically bad.
All right.
Let's pour it.
Yeah, let's pour it.
I think it's a Bordeaux wine.
Yeah.
So you have a fairly classic claret. Maybe the first one may or may not have had a slight more trace brick. We're splitting fine hairs. I got plum, leather, cassis, and some slight oak. Was there some slight variation in the intensity of the aromas? Perhaps. Nothing bowled me over or completely underwhelmed me. There's some slight green note on the palate. I thought compared to the first wine, which I questioned whether or not I was looking for any oxidation on the finish, maybe there was some, maybe there wasn't. For me, the liveliest of the wines on the palate was the second wine, and it was perhaps a little bit longer. And then the third wine, to me, was a bit broader and fuller than the other 2 wines. And again, I was looking, was there a hint of oxidation on the finish or not? And I wasn't sure.
Did you have a stab at which you thought was which?
My sense was that I liked the middle wine slightly better. I was thinking that's not the wine that was treated with heat, and that may have been the wine that was in the cellar. I thought that the broader, fuller one, that if you precipitate out some tartrates, they can have pigment and tannins with them as well, but who knows?
So that was kind of my reasoning. So in the end, I went for the first one, heated, the second one, frozen, and the third one, regular.
I'm actually same as you. The first one it was most acidic, and then the last one was most concentrated as to the aroma and the flavors. So I thought that was a regular one, and then the frozen one, number 2, and then heated one, number 1. Number 1 is the one that was heated.
Yeah,
was heated, and it's D'Armagnac.
That's a Chateau d'Armagnac,
2021.
2021. We all got right on number 1. That was heat treated.
You've bought this one before. You obviously like this one.
It was cheap at Costco, so I just
is
bought a
that
whole bunch. Yeah, it was like $25. Number 2 was put in the freezer.
Oh, so
overnight.
number 2 was the freezer.
Yes.
That's what I had said, yeah.
And apparently number 3 is the one that was in the cellar.
The reason for that is number 3 was the darkest. So I thought maybe something precipitated out in number 2 with the freezing.
You know, I thought that was a slightly lighter color as well, and then I thought, well, when I looked at them, these two were only partially on the white, and then I dismissed it, but I initially noticed that.
But
as
you
well.
did say number 3 has more concentration, though, right?
It was broader and fuller.
Broader
yeah.
and full. Okay, so the heat actually does hurt the wine because I can sense
Oh,
it.
no, it does. It's an interesting thing, though, commercially. I brought wine from South Africa. I delivered it to the guy who had ordered it, but he had ordered it from samples. He tasted the wine and he told me, "You've pulled a bait and switch on me. This isn't the same wine." Never do that. So then he said, "Well, then it's heat struck." I said, "No, it's not heat struck." And what it was the travel. That the wine just gets bruised from the travel and the changes in temperature and just needs a few weeks to come right.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had to take these wines, did you push the cork when you froze the wine?
No, I pulled it out.
Oh, you pulled it
just
out.
now,
Okay.
yeah.
My guess, again, based on experience, would be if you now age these wines for 3 or 4 years, the one that was frozen and the normal wines will age normally.
Mm-hmm.
The one that has been heated will fade much quicker.
Yeah, and can develop some of that burnt characteristic over time.
It's not just the heat, though. It's the light that can damage the wine as
Absolutely.
well, right?
That's why they come
Yeah.
in these color bottles.
Right. Though also, it's not only that, but it's the motion. It's called bottle shock. So even if it's not on a ship, let's say the bottle has been shipped over by air freight, or you put it in your luggage. Those bottles need to sit around for a week or more just to settle down. The wines that are shipped across the Atlantic, and here's what I'm going to disagree with you, they do change. And maybe not as much as this fellow was thinking.
No, yes, but that change accepted because the previous bottle that I showed him had also traveled that way.
Right.
So that was not a variation.
We had an issue on the Master of Wine exam because the American students were accustomed to drinking, tasting and drinking Bordeaux that had been shipped across the Atlantic and then trucked or train, whatever, to different parts of the country. So those wines, the same vintage, same wine, was tasting older than the wines in the UK that just came across the channel. And so when we were getting wines, usually it was by air freight, so the wines for the exam, people taking the exam in the United States, those wines are not sourced in the United States, they're sourced in the UK.
Right.
And so now folks were having a harder time with it because they were thinking that this wine is really younger than what it is because it hadn't gone through that shipping process. Not only the shipping process, to the port across the ocean, but then some wines go through the Panama Canal, others go on train. So it was interesting.
Yeah, so we learned that the heat treat wines definitely shows the deficiency compared to the
We
other
need
two.
to see more examples, but it does
Okay.
appear on this, given what we have here, I would say that, and given that we all thought that it was that wine, I would say that, maybe.
But
There's
good
a
thing
chance.
is that if the wine is frozen, if you drink it early on,
Oh yeah, no,
then
look,
it can still be
I've proved that many times.
okay.
I put wine in the deep freeze because I realize I want to drink it and I want to drink it in 15 minutes. I put wine in the deep freeze. Of course, in the intervening 15 minutes, you drink something else.
Right.
You forget that it's in the freezer and it might not push the cork, but sometimes it does. At least it moves the seal or whatever. And you end up pushing it back. And I've never noticed those to have been spoiled by that.
Okay.
Heat's a different matter.
Was it white wine or red wine?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've had the same thing happen. Though what's interesting is that freezing was a way of concentrating wine, right? Because if you freeze a wine, it's water that freezes. So you increase the alcohol, you increase the acidity, you increase flavor compounds, but you change it. That's if you pour off the liquid and you toss out the frozen portion.
Why did my soul